Alright guys, well, welcome to La Mesa RV in Mesa, Arizona, and today we're going to be looking at this 2019 Phaeton from Tiffin. Strictly speaking, from my own personal opinions, I don't really like to give La Mesa too much credit out here. Now, I was contacted by a viewer to do a quick inspection on this, but I do have high hopes this will be a beautiful Phaeton because one, this is a 2019, so it's pre-global pandemic problems. And that also means that it's pre-Thor acquisition of Tiffin motorhomes. Now, I don't think I've seen this 37BH floor plan before or showed it to you guys. I have even higher hopes because of where it came from up in Beaver Coach Sales in Oregon. Shh, somebody might be in trouble for leaving that on there. Now, like always, when I do an inspection, I will, of course, get on the roof and we'll do an inspection together. This is kind of a real-time inspection. Before I can even do the roof, I'll have to put the slide-out rooms out. What I do like to point out whenever I'm doing an inspection for a customer or a client, the first thing I will always do is a quick walk around the entire motorhome or RV and take pictures to record any conditions so that I'm not liable for anything, especially because this is not my shop and I don't want them to say, hey, it wasn't like that before you looked at it. Now for me as an inspector, the second most important thing for me to know is that I'm looking at the right RV, so I will verify the VIN number right there too, on the back of the RV and on the dash here just as well. I'll also note that the mobile eye camera has already fallen off the windshield. I'll assume at some point the windshield's been replaced because it's brand new. From coach glass right there, which means it should be an aftermarket windshield. Now, besides checking the sidewalls and the paint condition for checking or peeling, I'll also do a quick bang on all of these mirrors on both sides, as quite often those mirrors are loose at the base right over here, and it's not a fun thing to repair. On a Tiffin, it's not uncommon for the fenders to be loose. You do want to check the tire dates. So these are 9/18. These are in the problematic, maybe they should be replaced time frame, because this is a 2024, so we're at about 6 years. These are just at the cutoff date. I would probably recommend new tires. Again, I'm going to pull on the fenders here, but that flex is going to be apparently part of the fiberglass mold because the screws aren't loose. Normally those screws right there are broken free. It's also not uncommon for the rear caps on a Tiffin to be a little bit loose, so I'll also come here and pull on those because sometimes these brackets come loose down at the bottom. Always check the fluid levels and take a picture of those to send to the client. And I will notice on this coolant reservoir tank from Freightliner, looks like it's got exposed to a little bit of sun, so I'll make a note of that. It's not leaking, it's not cracking, but it is starting to, I guess, craze a little bit. You can see my fingernail scratches it pretty easily. Another quick check I'll do while I'm back here is just take a look underneath and look for any sort of signs of oil or fluid leaks before they have a chance to hide them from me. And even though this is a 2019, well after Tiffin had a problem with their basement floors rotting out, I'll still crawl underneath here looking for any sort of damages. Make sure the frame sub-assemblies aren't all rusted. We're still looking for the fenders to be loose. Nope. And then up front here will be the last one. Now, another common thing that I will look for is going to be back over here with the generator compartment. Obviously we want to pull it out. Now, this is a Onan 10 kW. We got the oil level or the hours right there. I'll check the fluid levels on that too. But what I always check underneath in the front is the exhaust hanger for the exhaust pipe. Those break very often, and we don't want the exhaust pipe flailing about. And it doesn't look like it is. Now while I'm under here, I'm also going to look at all the linkages for the suspension and the steering to make sure that I don't see anything I don't like. And while I try to tell everybody I do not excel at being a chassis technician, it doesn't hurt for me to do at least a visual inspection underneath. Now this is a shorter 37-foot diesel pusher. I think it has a 380 horsepower Cummins turbo in the back though still, but unlike a lot of Tiffins, there's only 3 slide outs on this diesel. Now since I have to put the slide out rooms out anyways for the roof inspection, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and show you guys what the RV looks like with the 3 slide out rooms closed. And of course, while we're talking about quick, simple visual inspections, around 2019 and a little bit earlier, it's kind of notorious for the fabrics to be peeling. So I do want to check all the fabric material and make sure they're not cracking or peeling, especially where they're going to be wearing quite a bit. That'll be true on the sofa and the recliner and of course the dinette booth. Now, it's also not a bad idea when the slide-out rooms are closed to go ahead and take a look on top. That way you can inspect the seals on the backside against the sidewall and maybe a little bit of looseness right up here. Now, this is mostly a water dam. I'll notate it, but I'm not too worried about that. And this is just decorative, so when the slide-out room is out, it looks like the paint line. So again, I'm not too worried about that. If anything, I would just trim it off so that water's not trying to get stuck under here. This is 2019, so you're gonna have a little bit of wear on it. It's not brand new. But I will go ahead and take pictures and notate all that for the owner, because I'm not doing the repairs on this. I'm just doing the inspection for their peace of mind, because they haven't even seen it yet. Now, the aisleway from the driver's seat and the passenger seat, you have a nice sofa aisleway, no problems or issues getting down here. The recliner, obviously it's not used for driving down the road, and because it is on that slide out room right there, you will have to reposition it all the time. It does look like it's probably a level out floor, just like on the driver's side. As far as the dinette access, that's a pretty good walkable aisle right there. I wouldn't complain about that at all. It's very livable. Okay. Now, this has a rear bathroom on it, but even though it's a short diesel, it does have a mid-coach bathroom. Looks like a little bit of trim fell off. Gravity porcelain toilet up here. Nice little ceramic porcelain sink under countertop mounted there. It's fairly accessible. Looks like the hinge door does hit the refrigerator, and to get through it, it will be easiest to turn sideways. So that could be a little bit better, but at least the door does open the right way. You have water and ice in the door on that side. The main refrigerator compartment's over there, but it's going to be tight if you want to completely open it up to get to this door, which is always broken too. That's another common failure point, is this big center drawer right there does tend to break in the middle. All right, put that down. Another common thing I'll look for on Tiffins especially are the cabinetry. Now, even though I'm not doing a full inspection yet, the paneling on the bottom of their cabinets does like to get a little loose, so I will make sure that it hasn't fallen off. Often they don't use staples, they use adhesive like a hot glue. Hot melt glue starts to give out over time, so that doesn't look too bad. Now if we walk back here, that's definitely a tight little aisleway. I am hitting my shoulders on both sides, so I will have to turn sideways. And this king size bed on the third slide out means this is the end of the road for us, because in order to get to the back side where the main bathroom is, you'll have to hop over the bed. A little bit of bad news, besides a little bit of maybe one person could lay down with their feet fully extended. Unless you're a little bit shorter, you will be hitting your feet on that closet over there. But small spaces do require some compromise. Otherwise, if I look above, a common issue I find on Tiffins is that the ceiling fan likes to hit this fascia right there, so it looks like it's just barely kissing it, or missing kissing it. And with that quick little walkthrough about how much space is inside this RV when you're driving down the road and the slide outs are in, let's put the slide outs out. Now we'll make a note, the key fob on this is a little bit worn out, but we will have to start the engine. And I know everybody wants to know, looks like there's 33,000 miles on this. So I will make sure the driver's seat and the passenger seats are out of the way. You'll notice that the slide out switches are on the seats, so that's your fault if you damage the seats. Of course, whenever you're running the slide out room in or out, it is absolutely vital you make sure you have room to run it out without hitting anything on the inside or the outside. Looks like this one's that level out floor, and it's probably hydraulic. Right, I will assume this one might be hydraulic too. Now this is almost basically a full wall slide out, so from the passenger seat all the way to the back bedroom next to that artwork on the wall there. Normally on most of these diesel pushers you have two slide outs on this side, so they incorporated a full wall slide out on the passenger side. So yes, that recliner can be moved safely off of the level out floor right there, but even though some people may not like a big slide out room on the passenger side because that's usually your patio side, I kind of like only having one slide out right there. A lot of times there's a bulkhead right here that just separates this slide out room from that slide out room, and that also means that you have only one bedroom slide out. Usually on a Tiffin, the bedroom slide outs are the electric Schwintex, so that means you only have one electric Schwintex slide out room. Which on this one we're going to access from here. We'll hit the gear button and we'll extend. There's that Schwintek motor sound. We'll just hold the button down the entire time as it's going out. It's not binding, and once it's all the way out, before we climb on the roof, we will go ahead and inspect and make sure that the rack, that aluminum rack and gearing, isn't all stripped out. But it doesn't sound like there's an issue with this one. This is, Tiffin did a pretty good job installing it, it sounds like. Again, just hold the button down until it turns itself off. That way we don't lose those slide out room motors synchronizing correctly. So it's time to get on the roof and do an inspection of this. Now, while I do have the engine running, I might as well level up the coach. Some might say I should have done that before I ran the slide out rooms in or out, and that's what I would say. But this ground is already pretty level. And if you're asking why it's wet back there, it's because I overfilled the fresh water tank. And right here is the overfill where it comes out. Okay. Those rear jacks are good. All right, well that was simple. Now of course, while we're underneath there already, we might as well go ahead and inspect the underneath of the slide out room. Not saying it's a common failure point on all Tiffins, but it's enough that it's important to look at. Tiffin also liked to hide this GFCE outlet right there. It took me forever to know about that one. And hopefully you can hear me over the engine, but I'm not seeing anything wrong with this full wall slide out. And we'll go ahead and do an inspection on this one over here. No signs of rotten floors like a Tiffin was kind of known for. Seals look really good. Sealant looks good. Wiper seals, they're fine. Not noticing any problems there. Here's your Schwintek slide rack. It's not showing any signs of abnormal wear to it. We just have a metal floor underneath right there. That rack looks good, and so does that one over there. Even though the awning is on the slide out room right there, I'm going to go ahead and run that out too. Just go ahead and go ahead. LED is on. Now this is a Girard awning. These are a little bit more durable than the Carefree smaller box awnings. They don't seem to bind up as much as those Carefree of Colorado ones do. All right, with the awning fully extended right there, it's a very useful patio space. All right, and with that, we're going to go ahead and get on the roof of this and do our favorite part of the inspection, the roof inspection. It might be a little bit boring to some people, but I do try to point out in all my videos how vitally important the roof is to the integrity of the rest of the RV. If you don't have a good roof, you don't really have a good RV. Now this Phaeton already has a built-in service ladder on it, so I'll always use that so I can test it out and make sure it's not loose. I have seen a Tiffin here lately where the mounts were ripped out of the roof right there, which is getting me to the point at this point in 2024. Just my personal opinion that these rear access ladders shouldn't be installed on RVs, towable or motorized anymore. Because as a ladder, they do jut out from the back of the RV. It's the most common thing in the world is to destroy a ladder. This is very thin-walled aluminum. They say they can handle about 300 pounds, but it doesn't take too much to break these things. And then with these telescoping ladders that I use exclusively now, they're pretty reasonably priced. They're a lot more versatile and stronger than these rear ladders right there. And believe it or not, that ladder is probably twice as much as that ladder right there. And these telescoping ladders you can just fit very easily in the basement. And if you need a ladder to get on the side of your RV, you can do that anywhere. You don't have to bring a second ladder with you anyways. I don't know. I think those should become less and less common to the point where they're not common at all. It seems just as easy for the manufacturers to throw in one of these telescoping ladders. But also without having a ladder back here, you don't have all these extra holes in the back cap. It makes it a lot easier to clean, which is of course, this gets dirty really easily and it's hard to get the brush all around these ladder points there too. So I think all around, deleting these ladders is probably the future in RVing. Now most Tiffin roofs of this era and modern ones are going to be a one-piece molded fiberglass roof. So there's no seams on the side except for where it wraps over to the gutter right here. And it's actually molded. It's not a sheet material that gets put down in one big lump and glued down in position at the factory. Now it is not completely seamless because where it meets the front and rear caps, there is going to be a seam right there. And then Tiffin does traditionally use a self-leveling silicone sealant or a lap sealant right here. If you can't cut it with your fingernail and it feels very rubbery, it's likely self-leveling silicone. We will look on the side right there. Looks like we're missing a screw on that gutter right there. It's not uncommon for Tiffin screws to start backing out. The paint chipping and cracking right there. I could recommend they reseal it, but that's a really common issue you're going to see when they paint the sealant. Now since I am right here, we'll go ahead and take a look at the skylight. Now it is yellowed a little bit, and it's not uncommon for the base of these Tiffin skylights to crack. Tiffin's been using these for over 20 years, so they are pretty robust and easy to get. This does have 1, 2, 3 roof ACs on it. That's why it has a 10 kW generator. And these are the Mach 8s. We're just going to lean up against it and make sure it's not loose. We'll make our way back here. I'll just walk on the seam. I didn't see any problems with the sealant there. And then same kind of cracking issues here. Not a big issue, nothing I'm really worried about. And surprisingly, the paint's not peeling on this one. Now this has bolt down vent covers. If you were able to successfully loosen up the stainless steel hardware right there, often this plastic is so brittle, you can see it's cracked right there, and I bet I could crack it right here if I wanted to. So I can't inspect very well right there. I can recommend new vent covers. We have the omnidirectional triple vision TV antenna. They did not skip out on the sealant on this one, but this is original factory sealant. I don't see a problem with that. This could possibly be a pre-wire for a satellite dish, maybe a Winegard Traveler. The bedroom slide right here. Topper looks good. I pointed out before, Tiffin makes a aluminum metal roof, which is surprising to me because there's a few luxury manufacturers out there, or at least one that has a rubber membrane roof on top of all their slide out rooms, even if they are $1.7 million luxury RV. If we look over here, we'll look down the wall to look for any waviness or bubbling on it. No issues right there. We already took a look. Now this slide out topper looks good too. Not seeing an issue. Another vent cover, same brittleness to it. These sewer vents right here, they got the Venturi built into them. Never had a problem with any of those. The sealant looks great. We made it to the second roof AC right here. I'm just going to lean up against it and make sure it's not loose. We have, we're missing the hardware on that vent cover, so I'm going to recommend 3 new vent covers because those are all cracking, and we're missing hardware over there too. To the full wall slide out. Surprisingly, this fabric is in really good condition. You can see it puddles water a little bit, but not too bad for being a full wall slide out. Look down the sidewall right there. That window hasn't been closed all the way. Go ahead and take a look at the top of the roof here. We already saw it when I was on the inside, so I don't see anything to be concerned about. All the seals look good. And even though I'm back here at the rear of the coach, I'm almost done with my roof inspection. Now it's not uncommon for these Tiffin roofs to have a little bit of bubbles to them, a little bit of delamination you would think, but it is molded fiberglass, so there is a little bit of give to the whole thing, so I wouldn't worry about that too much unless it's a big soft area. It does have 270 watt solar panels here. Check that roof AC, make sure it's not loose. This is the old Winegard Connect that has a cell phone and Wi-Fi boost to it. That came from the factory. It has the original self-leveling silicone. We have a Winegard Road Trip dome satellite dish that'll work on DirecTV and Dish Network. But because I can cut that, that's probably die-core sealant, wasn't installed by the factory. And it looks like there's an outline that's about the same shape as this hatch back there, because that was a pre-wire up here hatch for the satellite dish. Front of the slide out room, look for any damage, look down the sidewall. We'll continue the inspection on the gutter here. Again, a little bit of cracking. These boxes do twist at the front and the back. That's why in the middle there's not too much problem there. Talk about, it's hard to see, but there is a little bit of bubbling right there. Hopefully you can kind of see it. Oil can effect right at that XM satellite. XM radio antenna. That antenna looks fine. But when it comes to this little bit of oil canning, I wouldn't worry too much about that. That's not an indicator of any sort of structural integrity issue or water leaks. It's just they use pretty thin fiberglass now. They went a little bit thinner than they did in years past. Now this is a front cap seam. We're gonna walk this really fast. I'm trying to hurry up a little bit because even though we got a lot of cloud coverage today, it is the first day of July here in Arizona. And it's quite hot and my camera is overheating. I would say the best news is that the paint is not peeling on the front cap here either. We'll inspect and make sure those clearance lights aren't broken. And then we'll also peer over the top carefully, make sure the windshield isn't falling out. This is a 2019 Tiffin Phaeton. The roof looks like it's held up very well. I don't know if this was stored inside or not, but the paint hasn't peeled on it and it's well over 6 years old. So maybe Tiffin did do it a little bit better in 2019, 2018. We found a few issues with the vent covers, a little bit of sealant issue over here on the gutters, and a missing screw. But otherwise, this fiberglass roof looks pretty good. Like I said, a little bit of bubbles, a little bit of puckering. That's not too uncommon on these Tiffin roofs. Now I have to finish up the rest of the inspection on this, and I don't want to harp on the heat too much, but if there's one more thing I can recommend to anybody that does an inspection on an RV, especially if it's in the middle of summer, even if you're provided with good shore cord power, the most important thing you can probably do on your inspection for all your appliances and ACs is to start and run the generator for the entire inspection. Not only can you check loads like the water heater a lot easier, you can hear the generator ramp up, but you want to run the roof ACs. Often the ACs work fine on shore power, but after like 30 minutes or an hour running off the generator, it may not be uncommon for the generator to turn off because it overheated, and you're going to want to know that during the inspection, not after the inspection once you purchased it. You want to find out if that generator is going to be able to handle the entire load of the RV. Let me do this inspection and we'll do a walkthrough really quickly afterwards. All right guys, well, I'm done with the inspection. And I can say overall, this Phaeton's in really good shape. I think it's gonna be pretty fun to share what I found on it. Now, not only did the generator handle all three ACs at the same time, but I also made sure that we had a good condensation drain on all the ACs. That's why there's a big puddle underneath right there. The last thing you ever want is for the condensate to be draining into the ceiling on any motorhome. I would say obviously after 6 years I did find some items of concern. I'll try to point out some of them with you guys. I also think it's a little bit telling because this is a 2019 built in 2018. This is pre-pandemic and pre-Thor. And I don't really see a big difference in quality between this and a more modern 23 or 24 or even a 25. So maybe that myth about the modern Tiffins being a little bit worse, maybe there's not a lot to that myth. Even when it comes to the cabinetry, it's all real solid wood, but I think this is the alder wood. And I thought that they went to this wood because it was harder to get the cherry and more exotic hardwoods during the pandemic right there, but this does not look like anything other than alder wood or a poplar, so I don't think it's cherry, but I do like that it has that distressed sort of stain on the side of it. The floor below does have the high gloss, a porcelain finish on it that will reflect that beautiful ceiling above with the fairly indirect accent lighting on the ceiling there. Now in some Tiffins, it's not too uncommon to be able to come here and push up and have a little bit of give to it. But if we turn down to the floor, that is tile all the way to the back bedroom area. The only carpet's going to be on the slide out rooms themselves. Of course, another feature that I love is that all the shades are going to be manual shades. The only exception to that is going to be the front power visors and the privacy shade. Now we did see that the mobile eye had fallen off the windshield right there, and this is an odd place. I've never seen the mobile eye mounted on the pillar right there, but I can't say it's a bad location. And in 2019 we have an analog dash in-dash navigation and infotainment center with the hands-free Bluetooth connectivity. You can see the microphone for it right there. And of course it has a rear view camera with the side view cameras on it too. The dash AC was ice cold, which is perfect. As we move further back, this has a single sofa. This does turn into a bed. It's a simple hide-a-bed. It is queen size, has an intercoil mattress to it, but it also has the inflatable bladder on top, so you can inflate it to make a very comfortable bed. But more importantly, you do have a lot of IOA when the bed's even deployed. So you don't have to put that away every day to get it out of the way if you don't want to. Otherwise, very comfortable, full-size sofa. I'm never a big fan of dinettes. I know some people like dinette booths. I think it's difficult to get in and out and use it effectively compared to a normal freestanding table with chairs. And strangely enough, this table does not extend and it does not turn into a bed. It is made out of a solid surface corian that you're going to find throughout the entire RV. And like I said, all the shades are going to be manual. Again, beautiful. I like all the detail work they put on the window treatments too. Now directly across from that slide out is going to be that full wall slide out. It does have a space heater fireplace. I love these for the desert because that's about all the heat you ever need during the winter for us. But because the recliner is supposed to go right in here, and of course you can reposition that wherever you'd like, they don't want you to hit your head on any cabinetry overhead. So a lot less confined because of the openness right above there. And of course, in that section right there is going to be where the main TV is going to be located anyways. So while you do have decent viewing for the over-the-road TV above the dash right here from the sofa, if you want to reposition the recliner or sit in the sofa here and use the main TV. But a nice feature about this is if you don't want the recliner, you could theoretically turn this into a workstation with a little desk or countertop to work remote jobs from a computer. Of course, rear of that will be the galley. Now the galley has the same matching corian countertop you'll find throughout the entire RV. There's a 2-burner induction stovetop right here. Now this is not built to remove, but you do have to make sure you have the right cookware for that to work. Sharp carousel convection oven above, and on this model on a Phaeton, you have a Fisher & Paykel drawer dishwasher. Over to the right is going to be a double under countertop mounted stainless steel sink. You have the small work sink and the larger sink for doing dishes. And of course, if this is not enough countertop space for you, Tiffin still has their pull-out countertop extension with the drawers down below. Just rear of that's going to be the Maytag residential refrigerator. We already did see it had water and ice in the door. And of course, we did see that broken drawer on the crisper drawer and the pull-out section for the freezer down below. Important thing I will point out, I don't always tell people, when you do store these refrigerators, you should leave the freezer drawer cracked a little bit. If you don't, the moisture from the ice that condenses out of the atmosphere will start to attack the rails on there. That's a very common problem to have. If you just leave it propped open like that when it's in storage, that'll let the moisture out of the freezer. Just rear of that will be the pantry. Now this has the electric lock on the pantry, so you have to push that button in order to slide out the pantry. It does have all the adjustable shelving on it. And maybe this is a little bit better built than you'll see on a modern Tiffin. Now before we go through that pocket door, I will point out this wall over here. That's also loose. That's why I do like to go through banging on parts and pieces to make sure they're not loose. I have pointed out on a lot of videos that Tiffin hinge door frames do like to shift a little bit in the moisture, so it's pretty tight up here and it does flare out a little bit towards the bottom right there. Now it could be shimmed if you wanted to, but the door itself does operate just fine, and that's a beautiful solid hardwood door. As we move into here that we already saw, it's just got the under countertop like farm mini porcelain sink, that matching glass and stone tile backsplash from the galley, mirrored medicine cabinets above, and then this is a porcelain gravity toilet. So not a macerating toilet. I am a little bit curious about the molding here. Now this does not look like Tiffin molding, and that shoe or quarter round doesn't look original either. So I'm not sure what's going on right there, but they do have a nice matching dressing mirror right behind. So we make our way past this solid wood oversized pocket door. We'll find our bedroom, and of course, like I said, it was a continuation of that polished porcelain tile all the way to the back bathroom here. This is a king-size bed in the third slide out. It is a sleep number bed, and it does have good storage underneath. Now, because this is a smart multiplex system, both the rear and the front bed occupant can operate the entire motorhome from either one of those panels there. Now, opposing that will be the continuation of that full wall slide out that goes all the way to here. Hello. You'll find the bedroom TV. Now, this does not open up to reveal any storage behind. Down underneath is going to be a little hamper. That same Corian countertop. In here is going to be the home theater system. Now, I had a hard time finding all the remotes, so I will be making a note of that. The only remote I found was for the sleep number bed. That bank of dresser drawers down below, and this is going to be the main closet space, is behind these 4 mirrored closet doors. But this is not the end of the show. Past this full-length mirrored pocket door, it's going to be the rear full bathroom. Now, this is not a level floor all the way throughout, so you do have that step up. I'd like to point out on most of these floor plans. I think you have to get the Allegro bus to get the full-length level floor all the way to the rear bathroom. But this is a pretty short diesel with 2 bathrooms in it, and I do like that feature. You'll get a little bit more room on the rear toilet if you close that door. This is a macerating toilet. Now, this toilet is loose. I do like to lean up against those when I'm doing an inspection too. Over here past this sliding door is going to be the stacked washer and dryer from Splendide. It's a pretty common way that Tiffin came up with to hide those without having the door go over the toilet. The reveal of the washer and dryer. I did make a note that the bathroom window is fogged. Otherwise, this is a pretty efficient use of space in here. Instead of wasting time with 2 sinks, you have the one under countertop mounted ceramic sink on the same Corian countertop with a good sized work area. That same matching stone and glass tile. Backsplash mirrored medicine cabinets above, and even here is going to be a little pull-out linen closet that pretty much just leaves the shower. Now, this is a one-piece molded fiberglass surround. I prefer these more than the decorative, beautiful, luxurious tile shower stalls because they're much easier to fix and they don't have a problem leaking. Well, it's not quite as luxurious as you might find on a 40 or 45 foot diesel pusher. We have about a 6-inch or 7-inch step up. Now, I'm 6 foot. It does have a crossbar, and I just hit my head on it, so you will make sure you want to duck. Yeah, you definitely want to duck. Now, my head is now almost in the skylight up here, and it's hot. I can feel the heat pouring in, so I do like to have. So I do like that Tiffin added the shade right there. It still has the light above it, and even though my hair is poofed up, I'm not hitting my head on that cover yet either. Otherwise, the fixtures are very handsome. Has a built-in stainless steel assist handle too, so that's a good grab handle to have. The only thing I probably don't like about this is going to be the shower enclosures of America. Triple pane door. It's difficult to clean the track down here, but it looks like the previous owner did a good job of maintaining it. And I did notate that this latch was probably rebuilt incorrectly because that won't go down and snap into place. But that's the full inspection and walkthrough on this 2019 Phaeton. 37 BH Class A diesel pusher from Tiffin. Now, I think it's held up pretty well to the last 6 years. It's very easy to recommend this to the possible new owner. Obviously, I found a few more things wrong with it that I'm sharing with you guys. I have to still consult with the possible new owner. But I thought it might be interesting to take you through a pre-pandemic Tiffin diesel motorhome and share it with you guys to see if it's worth searching them out. It doesn't have the rocker switches that I love, so it does still have the multiplex system, but otherwise, easy to recommend. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Bye. Oh yeah, did I mention? It does have an aqua hot hydronic heater. The 3 roof ACs are heat pumps, and it has 2-zone in-floor electric heat too. Underneath the tileway here in the front, and of course back here in the bedroom too. So you got a fireplace, 3 heat pumps, 2 hydronic heaters, and 2-zone in-floor heating. There's a lot of ways to heat up this RV, which doesn't include the dash AC up front. And it's weird that I'm worried about heating up an RV in the middle of summer. It looks like they have Tyrons already installed on the rims of this. That's interesting. Go down and snap into place. It's kind of annoying.